Hi Anti-Society, welcome back to the Antisocial Planet into part 2 of my page 2 album reaction, because apparently expecting me to talk about 6 songs in an hour-long video is too much to ask for. So we're here for round 2 of this album to finish off the last 3 songs. Be sure to check out my reactions to Cheer Up and Part 1 that are already up on the channel, but I'm not going to talk too much in this intro because this reaction is already too long. Like, 2 videos is a lot. Am I freaking out a little bit about when we get to like full-length albums? Maybe. I don't know how many parts that's gonna end up being, but we have 3 more songs to get to, so let's just get into it. Next song. I don't know what to make of this one because we've been, with the title, I'm like, maybe it'll be fun, upbeat, a little bit more fast-paced. I'm usually wrong with my predictions, so.
Welcome to my wall, welcome to my wall. Hey, break it down now. Hey, here we go now.
Okay. Okay, so some funky things happening. I like that we're getting lots in this album of them like all singing lyrics together, but also the whole album feels very much like a sporting event, which I feel like fits with what we got in the Cheer Up music video. But there's just been lots of times where I'm like, this feels with like the like brass that comes in and the way that they're all singing together, and kind of like the songs feel like bigger than their first album. Like they feel like they fill up more space. So it just has this feeling of like celebration to it. I like that we're kind of carrying that forward. What is this production change up though? Well, like it took me a second to realize that we even got into the chorus because of like the production shift up, and then like the vocals came in. I feel like they're sticking in a very like middle tone for their voices, which is very interesting. We've had some moments of them really flexing on them, on like their vocal performance and stuff like that, whereas this one feels a lot more like in kind of like a comfortable zone of their vocals. And like they're not trying to like push too much or anything like that, which I'm not mad about because we've seen them go full out. And in this one it feels like there's kind of like a confidence to it, right? Like they don't need to do anything because, you know, everybody loves them anyway. Ooh. Oh, the little vocals in the back. Ooh, no, that little like kind of descending vocal in that line. See, they like whistle too. Ooh, the like pause with the drums. There's so many like little things happening in the production. I feel like from like a lyrical standpoint, it feels a little bit like we're staying in some material that we've already done in this album, which isn't my favorite, I'm not gonna lie. It's a fun song and I love the production, and they seem like they're having some fun with like the lyric delivery, but it feels like we're kind of staying in a similar zone to some of the other songs. I love that part though. I do like that one though, where it's like I act like I'm indifferent, but actually I have butterflies in my stomach too. Like it's this idea of kind of what I was talking about before about like how you kind of have to fake it till you make it, right? Like the idea of needing to put on a certain persona of confidence, even though maybe you don't have that because you just need to kind of fit that role to get through this moment. So it's like you might act indifferent, you might act like you have all this confidence and you know who you are and what you want and that kind of a thing, but getting all of this attention from people can be really overwhelming and you don't quite know what to do with it. Just like interesting delivery. I do like all the little like ooh in the background. Ooh, okay, no, we had a little breakdown there. But also, I'm thinking because of like the certain choices in their vocal delivery, the fact that they're kind of staying in like this middle part of their voice, is there choreo for this? Like if I watch a live performance, is there some choreo for this? Because I feel like this song would fit really well for having to do choreo because they're not trying to do anything like crazy out there. And there's a kind of specific rhythm to the way that they're performing the vocals. Obviously there's always a rhythm to the way that people sing things, but there's kind of like they're hitting like specific beats. There's kind of like this kind of bounce count to the rhythm of the vocals that makes me think that it would work really well for having choreo. I don't know, that's just my observation. Ooh, the change up though. This one's much like sweeter, which kind of fits with it. Are we gonna go into a breakdown? The little backup vocals are my favorite. Ooh. Good vocal falsetto there. Is that Nayeon? I don't know about that one. Not because I don't think it's a good song or I have anything like particular about it. I think in the context of the album, after having heard the previous songs, I just don't feel like there was anything in that song that was different from what's already been like on this album specifically. It's not just like, oh, this is like maybe kind of similar to something that they've done before as like a group, which I don't really mind because I've said before that I like when they kind of like repeat motifs and reference things kind of throughout an album and throughout a career. I just feel like lyrically there wasn't anything new that hadn't been in other songs. There were some interesting production things in it, like some fun little noises and things in the background. I liked little background vocals, but again, like they also weren't really going in for their vocals either. I just feel like it's a little bit of a backtrack, you know, like I feel like we're taking a little bit of a step back from where we were progressing with the album. Maybe if I heard the song just like by itself, like shuffling through my music and this came on, I'd probably have a really fun time with it. But in context of the album, I feel like they didn't progress the story, you know, of like them continuing to look at new ideas and new things and stuff like that. Maybe I'll warm up to it though. I've definitely had it where there are songs where I'm kind of like, I don't know. And then after I've heard it a couple of times, it becomes the song that like I really enjoy listening to. So we'll have to wait and find out. Okay, let's see what my headphones on has to show us. I was not expecting those vocals. Also, as someone who kind of lives in my headphones because I don't do well with unexpected noise and just like certain sounds bother me, I like the encouragement, okay? I like to be alone and I live in my headphones, so I like the support.
내 헤드폰 써. 나 혼자인 게 어때서? 난 또 헤드폰 써.
Okay, I like the synth.
어디든 같이 가고 싶다고 해서
I wasn't expecting a slowdown.
나는 내 목소리를 들어야만 놓인다 해서 헤어지는 상상을 먼저 하진 않았어.
Is that Momo coming? Hold on. I wasn't expecting us to slow down a little bit. I feel like maybe this is specifically a song for once because it talks about like how like you need to like hear my voice to calm down. Like it feels like I was kind of saying like sometimes the world is overwhelming, right? And I wear my headphones because it's overwhelming. I wear these ones because they're noise canceling, so I just kind of like wear them around even if I'm not playing any like sound in them. Sometimes I have music on. It kind of depends on the day just because I get overwhelmed by things and I need like to block it out. But there are like specific songs that like soothe me, calm me, specific voices that I listen to that just like, I don't know, flip some kind of switch in my brain where I just like calm down and I feel like I can breathe again. So I feel like this might be a song that's specifically for fans. Momo coming through though.
어디든 같이 가고 싶다고 해서
I like this too, with them all singing together.
나는 내 목소리를 들어야만 놓인다 해서 헤어지는 상상을 먼저 하진 않았어. 좋았으니까 안 그런 척해도 널 좋아해서
Oh, I like that cadence.
사실 조금 아팠어. 슬펐으니까 눈물이 나는 걸 꼭 참았어.
I gotta go back. Those two vocals.
먼저 하진 않았어. 좋았으니까 안 그런 척해도 널 좋아해서 차가워진
Onion.
사실 조금 아팠어. 슬펐으니까 눈물이 나는 걸 꼭 참았어. Goodbye라도 괜찮아. 내 헤드폰 써. 나 혼자인 게 어때서? 난 또 헤드폰 써. Goodbye라도 괜찮아. 내 헤드폰 써. 사랑하냐면 어때서? 난 또 헤드폰 써. As long as I got my headphones on. 그냥 정도만.
Ooh, okay, wait. It's like way more of a like minimal kind of chorus than I was expecting, but there's a kind of like group chant to it, right? It's like what I've been saying for like this whole album feels like something that would fit like in a stadium or like a sporting kind of setting, and having that kind of like chant of like it's okay to be alone, it's okay to like say goodbye, and it's like you can escape into music as a way of like getting through that, right? Because you know that you're going to get through it. They're talking about like a breakup or like saying goodbye to someone or like having to cut ties with someone or something. And sometimes music is a way of just kind of coping with that in between of like between the initial hurt of goodbye and when you're okay again, right? And you just need something that can get you from point A to point B because there's usually a pretty big stretch between those two things depending on how bad the goodbye was. And I know probably a lot of us who are here to love music and appreciate music. Music is a way of us getting through those feelings. It's a way of us processing them, but it's also a way of escaping for a little bit. Hopefully help like in a healthy way. I know sometimes you just need to like step out of what you're feeling or even just like know that like channel what you're feeling through something. I know for me for a long time I felt like it wasn't okay for me to feel things and to express how I was feeling. I grew up in an environment where that wasn't as accepted as maybe it should have been, and I was kind of, you know, like I've said, I get overwhelmed really easily by things. I can get upset by things that don't make sense to other people. So when I get upset about things and it doesn't make sense, people think that I'm just like overreacting about this stuff, especially when I was a kid and like didn't know how to regulate it very well. I don't know, I guess I coped with like tampering down what I was feeling because I felt like I had to feel it in private. And music was a way of kind of having it be okay to feel those things, because it wasn't like, oh, I'm not feeling it, I'm just empathizing with the music, right? Like, I'm empathizing with the story that somebody else has. It was like a way of allowing myself to feel those things because it wasn't me, it was someone else's story that I was kind of living through. So I feel like we all kind of have that, right? Where sometimes it's easier to feel something when you can disconnect from it, or when it's somebody else's story that you just empathize with, you know, instead of it being like your story. And sometimes it's just because you need to just not be part of the world for a little bit and be in your feelings and figure out how you're feeling. So I kind of like that there's like this chant to it of like, we've all done this, we've all had those moments, and it's okay, like you'll get through it. And you know, they feel it, I felt it, you've probably felt it. It's not as weird as you might think it is when you're in those feelings, right? When you feel more isolated because you don't know how to communicate how you're feeling. Her voice. I like little synths in the back too. I like that. Oh, I like that where it's like people thought that I would be worse off than I am. And I think part of this is like, even them saying like Chaeyoung's lyric of like, I thought my mom would notice, but like, even I think I'm fine, is like that idea of I might not be fine, I might not be as good as I might seem externally with how I'm dealing with this goodbye, but I'm not completely falling apart either. You know, like again, like I said, that in between space between the like heartbreak of the initial goodbye and the being okay is you like not being good, but also like your world isn't falling apart, you're continuing with your life, you're just kind of trying to figure out how you're feeling and why you're feeling it and like healing those feelings so that you can eventually get to okay. So it's like, yeah, I'm like, I can eat and I can sleep and I can carry on with my life and I probably seem fine to everyone else, but I'm also still going through some stuff, but like I'm okay. Like I'm not, it's not the end of the world. And I like that. And I also like the switch between her lines and then like everyone kind of singing together. Again, that feeling of unity of like, everybody's felt this, everybody's gone through this, you're not alone, it's a thing that other people can connect with and you should like feel okay with feeling that way. Ooh, that too of like, I ignored it, you know, like when you ignore how you're feeling for a while and then it's like, I hated it, right? Like it's better to feel it than to ignore it. And this is like, you know, coming from my own story too of like how I used to not let myself feel things because I felt like it wasn't something that I felt like it wasn't okay in a lot of contexts. And now I just let myself feel stuff because it's better to just feel it than to like tamper it down and then it all comes bubbling up at once and you just feel everything, like all of the things, because you just get exhausted from not feeling it and it's awful. Like it's worse than just feeling those things. And honestly, like making reaction videos has helped a lot with me doing that because I was kind of getting there, but like with reactions I have to like feel whatever I'm feeling in the moment and just kind of like let myself feel. And it's helped me a lot with just being okay with that because now it's like I'm feeling things and I'm like recording it and it's going up for people to watch it and it's there and people can come back and watch it like years from now and it just like exists. You can see times where songs made me cry, where plot lines made me cry, where I got mad about things when I was watching shows or reading comics or whatever. You can see all of that because I just recorded it and put it up and it exists now. And it helps me kind of be okay with feeling those things in a way that I didn't for a really long time. And I like the lyric of ignoring it and I hated it, right? Like you have to let yourself feel those things and it's okay to feel them and you'll be okay. Like you'll get to a point where it isn't completely tearing you apart. And like this lyric says, like, this is for the better. Like you accept it because sometimes it's better to not try to hold on to things that aren't serving you anymore. Yeah, and like trying to hold on to the relationship. Junghyun! It's unfair for them to put the rap parts, because gonna be honest, because rappers get me anyway. Chaeyoung and Dahyun are already a problem for me, okay? In general, they had been since like early on in me getting into Twice music. We've been over this. You can't have rap parts and then have Junghyun right after with those vocals without giving me a warning first, okay? It affects me. They also keep like pulling back the production when Junghyun sings, and that's not fair to me either. I love her voice so much. This part is surprisingly catchy. I feel like it shouldn't be as catchy as it is. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I need Jio to come with a warning. I need a warning. I need a big warning label before she decides to go off on me. Because what was that? I deserve an explanation. Just get the little cry in there too. I thought she was gonna go up and what was that? Okay, so she did like kind of like the belting, kind of like full chest voice, and then put that little cry into it, and then she worked down to like her lower range, and then she flipped up into her head. Like, what was that? I'm gonna listen to it again though. How dare she? I feel like I'm gonna have this part stuck in my head. That bass coming through though. I really like the lyrics in this one. This is like redemption moment because like one, I feel like the minimal chorus is a lot catchier than I thought it would be. Then the lyrics I really like of, again, like that weird space in between like goodbye and actually being okay. I feel like a lot of the time when you have songs, I know that this is like more of a love song than other things, they tend to kind of stick with love songs, and I feel like that's one part of the genre, both like K-pop and like pop in general. Majority of the songs are like love songs of varying phases of that relationship, and I feel like because it's something that is very like emotive, lots of people can connect to, but it can also be interpreted in lots of different ways. It's like an easy framework for a story that you can then have lots of different interpretations for, and lots of different things that kind of apply, because you can love lots of different things. We kind of minimalize it to like a love relationship between two people, but it can be lots of different things. And I really like that in this one, it's not like a focus on, you know, the very beginning of a relationship, the falling in love, the being in love, the breakup. It's like the weird time after a breakup when you still haven't like completely moved on, but you're also like over the breakup, you know, like you're over the breakup part, but you're not over the thinking back on the relationship and wishing it had been different kind of thing. right? Like you haven't moved on to the next thing. You haven't fallen in love with the next thing. You're still like in that weird trying to figure out who you are without, you know, if it's like an actual relationship, it's like a huge part of your life and it's like this whole other person that you've like connected your life with, and now you don't have them and it's just like weird for a while. Like you don't want to get back together with them. You don't want to go back to what that life was, but like you don't know what to do now that you have to like rebuild your life that just like doesn't have this person in it. And it could be the same thing with like other things you love, right? It could be like a passion too, where like what do you do when you devote all of your time and energy into something that you love and then you get to a point where you don't love it anymore, and then how do you like build a life after that even though you don't want to have that thing in your life anymore? Like it's a weird time, and I like that they're kind of touching on that and at the same time saying like it's okay to be in that. Like it's okay to be in that weird phase. Like you don't need to run into the next thing. You don't need to turn back and like regret what you did. Like this is better for you to like realize that you didn't need this thing in your life anymore, and it's okay that you feel things and just like sit with those feelings for a while and be on your own and be fine. You don't need to like rush into the next thing to like fill that like weird part of you that feels like you need to kind of like go back to like what was normal back when you had this thing or this person that you loved. So also like some of the vocal, like Momo came through in that one. Gio always. We had some great like rap cadences coming through. I feel like Nayeon wasn't in this one as much, but she gets lots of lines in other ones, so I feel like it's okay. Junghyun always. You know, like, and some of the softer voices coming through really nicely in this one too. I feel like this is gonna get stuck in my head. I feel like it's not like instantly like I'm like, oh, this is like super catchy and I want to sing along, but I feel like it'll worm its way in. Final song, and I think this one is like only on the like physical albums maybe. There's something special about this one which makes me feel like it might get me in my feelings, because I feel like songs that are just for albums are like even more specifically for the fans, because it's like you have to buy the album to encounter it, right? Like they're like official channels as opposed to like just like streaming it normally. Like there isn't like an MV, it's not going to be on like normal streaming services for the album. Like you have to search for it if you want to find it, and I just feel like they usually get my feelings. So deep breath, especially like with the title like I'm Gonna Be a Star, just makes me feel like it might be about them wanting to be performers and how that was like such a big part of who they are and what they wanted and things like that. It just like can get me in my feelings. You know, I know that some of them worked for a very long time to be able to be in Twice, so it just this is a little bit more retro than I was expecting. This is definitely more retro than I was expecting. What are these vocal deliveries? Like it's very retro. There's lots of like it almost has, I don't know how to describe it. I don't know if I have like a good reference for it, but it's making me think of 80s pop that was a little bit more on the artsy side than some of the like more mainstream kind of pop sounds. The vocal delivery, like the tone threw me off. Sorry, I got distracted by the delivery of that I wasn't even reading fast enough. The tone of this is so different. I don't think I've ever heard them sound like this. That I'm just like, it's like there's almost a moment where I'm like, is this like a remix of something? Because it feels so different from what I've heard so far, which is, I mean, great. I love when people do things that I would not expect, but I'm going to actually like read some lyrics in this part because I was distracted.
나올지 아쉬워 별 볼일 없던 난데 이젠 별이 됐고 나를 비춰 전망대 스포트라이트 켜지면 높게 뻗어서는 물결 위로
Okay, Momo.
고민 없이 We going up, we going up 좀 머리 나이지만 아이처럼 안 불어 아찔한 길의 사이에도 안 굴려 병아리처럼 삐삐약대다가도 독수리처럼 위로 비약해 중독적인 비트 위 가뿐히 올려놓은 sweet 60 한 빠지들면 no exit We go, go, going up
That whole like pass off with all the rap parts, I like it. The confidence too. I almost can't read fast enough. What did I say about a warning label? Oh, okay. I feel like I'm a little out of breath just from hearing the rap parts. But we had like a couple of things, like we have like Sweet 16s, we had like Becoming a Minor and stuff like that. Like it makes me think like this is kind of like them, because they're still really young at this part and they have probably a younger fan base at this point too. They're kind of catering to a younger fan base. It's almost like they are having something to prove, like they can be both young and super talented, because I feel like we kind of dismiss that a lot. Like we feel like people who are younger, who are teenagers, can't possibly know what they want or be as good as they can be as like adults. And I know that like as the group has gotten older, as they progress through their career, obviously they've gotten better. I've heard some of their newer stuff and I feel like they have like so much more like actual confidence, and they have a little bit more like grasp on what they want to talk about and things like that. But also like they're extremely talented at this point too, and they want to be taken seriously, and they should be taken seriously because like they're professionals now. Like they get paid to sing and rap and perform and to be entertainers. That is their job. You know, like, and probably a lot of the people who doubt them are not professional entertainers. And it just like it gets me when people who like don't have experience in being a entertainer, let alone a professional one, feel like they understand enough about what that's like that they can like pass judgment on somebody on how well they're doing it. I'm like, you've never done it. You know, like I have very minimally been in the entertainment industry, either in the peripheral of it or like really small performances and that kind of a thing. And even I don't think I have the right to tell them whether or not they're doing a good job at managing this. I'm like, I have no idea the kind of scale that they're performing at. So it feels like they're kind of both saying like, yeah, we're really young, but we're also really good. And I like that, like taking ownership of that, right? Like not trying to grow up, not trying to be more mature, perceived that way. They're like, yeah, we're kids. We're also very good at what we do. You know, like I like that mentality of embracing both sides of that and saying like, yeah, I'm gonna be a star. Like, watch me. But we had some vocals coming in and I was not ready. Okay, Sana. All of the vocal line coming through. Hang on, hang on. Everybody coming from me from the vocals. It's such a different sound. I'm just like shocked.
Wi-Fi 우리 팀처럼 퍼져 worldwide 확실히 보여줄게 차이 You better think twice 지금
I feel like this song is far more like rap heavy than some of their other songs too. Like it's a very different sound. There's a lot more kind of like processing in general, like both having like synth sounds, having different effects on their vocals and things like that. The way that they've changed their vocal delivery. And then I just feel like there's a lot more rap in this than I've seen in some of their other songs. And I've had a few people in my comments talk about how like rap doesn't really fit with the general sound of Twice, at least early on, the kind of concept and the general kind of like bubblegum pop girl crush kind of vibe that they were going on earlier in their career. Rap doesn't fit that entirely, you know, like rap can be in those songs, and obviously they do have rap parts in those songs. They're not, I wouldn't think that they would have something that is very rap centric. Like, you know how sometimes K-pop groups will have songs that are almost entirely rap, like they'll just kind of like let the rap line do their thing and then the vocal line kind of backs them up on like the chorus and like little harmony parts in the background and stuff like that to kind of let the rappers shine for a bit. And I feel like that isn't something that I would really expect from Twice with the kind of sound that they have, but this is probably the most rap heavy song I've heard from them, and I love it. I love getting to hear all of it. I love when we're switching through all of them. I mean, all good in my books. I like that our team is like Wi-Fi. And the vocalists are flexing too. This part is surprisingly catchy too. It's like, what is this vocal tone? Junghyun though. I feel like Nayeon sounds very different too. That was surprising, but like in a great way. I feel like I wouldn't put it in some of my top songs that I've heard from Twice, but it's different and I love that. I love when artists just try different things, even if it's not necessarily my cup of tea, like even if it's not a song, like this I actually had a lot of fun with this song, but there are sometimes when artists try something very different and it's really not my kind of sound, but I totally respect them for trying it. Like when they do something that shocks me, surprises me, and they do it well for like what that sound is, I love it. And like this is wonderfully shocking. Like this is a wonderful switch up in their sound, them trying something very drastically different. Again, I feel like it was more rap heavy. The rappers came through a lot more. I feel like Chaeyoung was like all over the song. You know, sometimes she only gets like smaller parts in it, again, because rap doesn't always fit with the sound that Twice is doing. But also like the vocalists were coming through really strong. I don't really want to say who's like a rapper and who's the vocalist because I know that they like switch around things. But we had like some great moments with some of the vocalists to just like shine through. And you know, the production choices, the different tone to their vocals too, in some of the like more almost like EDM sounds to it. Like I feel like I would dance this song if it came on. You know, like I want to be somewhere where there's a bunch of dancing happening when this song comes on, because do not expect me to not enjoy dancing like a crazy person. What a wonderful surprise at the end of the album. Overall, I had a lot of fun with this album. I feel like my favorites were in the first part, but clearly I had a lot to say about this album because both of these parts together are probably an ungodly long time. Like, I don't know why you guys are like still listening to me talk, because the fact that it has been 2 parts is something that is worrying me about what these album listens are going to be like going forward. But one thing though is that I don't feel like I could string together some kind of specific narrative for this one. And I think it's the first time for an album reaction I've done. Definitely I've encountered albums like that before in my life because I listen to a lot of music. It's kind of unhealthy, but I don't feel like I have a clear one, because they kind of would start some kind of storyline and they kind of like went back on it, and obviously they probably weren't trying to put together a full narrative for this album, but lots of little shocking moments, some great moments, some songs I'm definitely going to be coming back to. They're just like a fun group, and I know that they progress and they get to do lots of other things in their later albums, and lots of people have told me that like it's all uphill, you know, like it's all going up, as they said in that last song. Like these albums just progressively get better, so that just makes me super excited, because listening to these first couple of their albums, I've had such a fun time. I've enjoyed them so much. I've gone back, I've been singing some of their songs so much, like my brain will just like randomly start singing parts of their songs, and that's just like me for the rest of the day, is just like bopping out. So I'm just having so much fun going through their music and their MVs and things like that. So I hope you enjoyed watching that along with me. You can click this playlist to go into my previous reactions, or you can subscribe so you know next time I post a twice reaction, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!